What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something that hits different for every woman watching this. Those specific phrases from men that immediately trigger anxiety, fear, or that sinking feeling in your stomach. We're not talking about obvious insults here. We're talking about those seemingly innocent words that carry massive weight. The phrases that can change the entire trajectory of a relationship in seconds, or the statements that reveal uncomfortable truths you've been avoiding. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or it's complicated, these phrases have probably hit you at some point. So let's break down what these words are, why they trigger such strong reactions, and most importantly, what they actually mean and how to respond. Let's dive in. We need to talk. Let's start with the absolute heavyweight champion of anxiety-inducing phrases. We need to talk. 4 simple words that can ruin your entire day, week, or honestly, your entire mood until that conversation happens. The moment you see this text or hear these words, your mind immediately goes into overdrive, running through every possible scenario. Why this phrase triggers such intense fear? First, the vagueness is intentional, or at least feels that way. It creates a cliffhanger in real life, and your brain hates unresolved tension. Psychologically, uncertainty is more stressful than knowing bad news. Your mind will literally create worst-case scenarios, because at least that gives you something to prepare for. Second, this phrase has cultural weight. We've all been conditioned through movies, TV shows, and past experiences that we need to talk rarely precedes good news. It's become synonymous with breakups, conflicts, or serious issues. What it usually means, sometimes it actually is serious. A breakup conversation, a discussion about commitment, or addressing a real problem in the relationship. But other times, it's about something relatively minor that he's overthinking, like splitting bills differently or changing weekend plans. How to respond? Don't spiral. Instead, respond with, "Sure, when works for you? And can you give me a hint what it's about so I'm not anxious?" This forces clarity and shows you're mature enough to handle direct communication. If he refuses to give any context, that's actually a red flag about his communication style. I'm not ready for a relationship. This phrase usually comes after you've been dating for a while, after you've developed feelings, after you've invested time and emotion, and it feels like a trap door opening beneath you. Why this cuts so deep? Because it often comes with the unspoken addition. Aber with you. Let's be real. When a man says he's not ready for a relationship but continues dating you, what he's really saying is, he wants the benefits of a relationship without the commitment or accountability. The fear this triggers is about rejection disguised as a personal limitation. It makes you question your worth and wonder what you did wrong or what you're lacking. What it actually means, sometimes men genuinely aren't in a place for commitment due to career focus, healing from past relationships, or personal growth. But here's the hard truth. If a man meets someone he's absolutely sure about, the timing suddenly becomes right. When someone is truly invested, they make it work. More often, this phrase means, "I like you enough to keep you around, but not enough to commit." Or, "I want to keep my options open." How to respond? Believe him the first time. Don't wait around hoping he'll change his mind, or that you'll be the exception. Respond with, "I appreciate your honesty. I am ready for a relationship, so this isn't going to work for me." Then actually walk away. Protecting your time and energy is not playing games. It's self-respect. "You're overreacting," or "You're too sensitive." These phrases are particularly insidious because they don't just dismiss your feelings, they make you question your reality. Why these words are so damaging? This is gaslighting territory. When someone tells you that your emotional response to their behavior is the problem rather than addressing their actual behavior, they're manipulating you into doubting yourself. Women are already socialized to be accommodating, to not make waves, to be chill and low maintenance. So when a man tells you you're overreacting, it taps into that cultural programming and makes you wonder if you're being too much. What it actually means, usually it means, "I don't want to take accountability for how my actions affected you," or "Your feelings are inconvenient to me, so I'm going to make this about your response rather than my behavior." It's a deflection tactic. Instead of saying, "I understand why that hurt you, let me do better," they're essentially saying, "Your feelings are wrong." How to respond. Stand firm in your reality. Try, "I'm not overreacting. I'm having a normal response to your behavior. If my feelings seem too intense to you, maybe your actions were more hurtful than you want to acknowledge." If this becomes a pattern, it's time to seriously reconsider the relationship. Someone who consistently invalidates your emotions is not a safe person to be vulnerable with. "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." This phrase typically shows up in longer relationships, and it's absolutely devastating because it sounds like word soup that doesn't make sense, but everyone somehow understands exactly what it means. Why this phrase is so painful? Because it signals the end while using the word love. It's a breakup wrapped in affection, which makes it confusing and harder to process. You're left wondering what changed, what you did wrong, or how someone can love you but not want to be with you. What it actually means. It usually means the romantic spark, passion, or chemistry has faded for them. They care about you as a person, your friendship, your history together, but they're no longer romantically attracted or excited about the relationship. Sometimes it means they've emotionally checked out, but haven't fully admitted it to themselves. Other times, they've developed feelings for someone else and are trying to let you down gently. How to respond. As much as it hurts, accept this as the ending it is. Don't try to convince them to feel differently or promise to change. Feelings aren't negotiations. A simple, "Thank you for being honest with me. I deserve someone who is in love with me, so I think we need to part ways completely," is dignified and final. Then begin your healing process, knowing that staying would only prolong the pain. "My ex was crazy." Now this one might seem different, but hear me out. When you're getting to know someone and they describe every ex as crazy, psycho, or overly emotional, major alarm bells should be ringing. Why this phrase should trigger fear? Because the common denominator in all his past relationships is him. If everyone he's dated was crazy, either he has terrible judgment in partners, red flag, or more likely, he's the problem and doesn't take accountability, bigger red flag. This phrase often predicts future behavior. Women fear this because deep down, you know that one day you might be the crazy ex he tells the next woman about. What it actually means, often it means he drove his exes to extreme emotional reactions through his behavior. Cheating, lying, gaslighting, or emotional unavailability. Then he frames their justified anger or hurt as them being crazy. It reveals someone who doesn't take responsibility for relationship dynamics and who will likely paint you as the villain when things go south. How to respond. Dig deeper with questions like, what made the relationship difficult? Or, what role did you play in how things ended? If he takes zero accountability and only blames his exes, consider this a preview of your future with him. Someone emotionally mature will say things like, we weren't compatible, or I made mistakes too, or we both contributed to the problems. I thought you were different. This phrase usually comes during an argument or when you've set a boundary, and it's designed to make you feel like you failed some test you didn't know you were taking. Why this triggers anxiety? Because it implies you were on a pedestal and you've now fallen from it. It suggests that he had expectations you didn't meet, and you're being punished for being human rather than perfect. What it actually means. This is often manipulation. It's designed to make you scramble to prove you are different by accepting poor treatment or lowering your standards. It can also mean he created a fantasy version of you in his head rather than getting to know the real you. And now he's disappointed that you're an actual person with needs, boundaries, and emotions. How to respond. Don't take the bait. Respond with, different from what? I'm exactly who I've always been. If you expected me to never have needs or boundaries, that's unrealistic. This phrase often appears when you stop accepting breadcrumbs or start advocating for yourself. The right person won't punish you for having standards. This phrase deserves a mention because it's the ultimate conversation ender that women fear in conflicts or discussions about relationship issues. Why it's frustrating? It's dismissive. It shuts down communication and signals that he's unwilling to work on problems or hear your perspective. It's essentially saying, I don't care enough to try to improve this situation. What it means, he's either emotionally checked out, doesn't think the issue is important, or doesn't have the communication skills to work through conflict. How to respond. It doesn't have to be what it is. Relationships require effort and communication. If you're unwilling to work on this with me, that tells me everything I need to know about your investment in this relationship. So there you have it. The phrases that trigger fear in women and what they really mean. Here's the bigger truth. These phrases trigger fear because they often signal rejection, abandonment, or the end of something you've invested in emotionally. But fear is also information. It's your intuition telling you to pay attention. The key is not to avoid these phrases or the men who say them entirely. Some of these conversations are necessary and healthy. The key is to recognize what they mean, respond with clarity and self-respect, and not let fear make you accept less than you deserve. Remember, the right person won't make you constantly anxious. The right person won't weaponize words to control or manipulate you. And the right person will communicate clearly because they value you and the relationship. If you found this helpful, smash that like button and subscribe for more relationship content. Drop a comment telling me which phrase hits hardest for you, or if I missed any major ones. Until next time, know your worth and don't settle for less.